Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 vs 3 on Odon, and in this one I'm going to be using the 716th Infantry Division, my favourite. I'm going to be playing with Lanciel and Big Daddy Long Squeeze. These names just get better and better. They're going to be playing the 3rd Fallschirmjäger and 17th SS Panzergrenadier. I'm playing against Fix, Imtail and Clone, who are using the 3rd Canadian Infantry, Guards Armoured and 101st Airborne respectively. So on this map, and there was quite a lot to consider. First of all was that there is quite a lot of elite infantry on the other side of the on the other team. There was Airborne Engineers and there's also Stormtroopers. So those two units are incredibly hard for me to deal with as an infantry division, because my best infantry is either the Italian infantry that comes in late game or the Osttruppen. And Osttruppen just don't really fend very well against any airborne troops really. But either way, I wasn't particularly worried about that. I was more worried about who I'd be up against at the start of the game, and it was most likely to be the 3rd Infantry, and I'll tell you why I can work that out. It's generally to do with terrain. So in the middle it's the most open, so that's generally where you would see like the Guards Armoured go, for example. Then over on the left side you got a town and you got forests. So that's very much catered towards the 101st Airborne, so I wouldn't be surprised for the 101st Airborne to claim that as an attack area. And then on the right side this leaves the 3rd Canadian, which can deal with this sort of terrain quite nicely. They have a good mix of artillery, infantry, tanks that can deal with all sort of terrain types. So the 3rd Canadian can work very well in this area. So I just got to be a little bit concerned. I kind of thought that I would be against the 3rd Canadian, and that's what I was working off. I've just got to make sure that I get as far up as I can to the open areas, and then I have a much better chance against the 3rd Canadian than I would otherwise, because they have the RAM that's really good, but it doesn't really have any HE value. So I can use AT guns and IG-18s really effectively in the open to stop, for example, Stormtroopers, which are the other elite units, from approaching me in the open. So my composition is simple. It's the Fusilier, Pack, IG-18, Osttruppen, Command Infantry combo. In the middle we're going to be seeing Lanciel move up here. 3rd Fallschirmjäger is going to be controlling the centre of the map, whilst Big Daddy takes the town. So this was a little bit different to normal, but the 17th SS Panzergrenadier does have Stosstrup, so they can sort of put up a fight against some of the airborne infantry quite nicely. By the way, I put defense beacon down on these forest areas at the start of the game because I don't want to give them away for free, and it actually forces me to bring in some Osttruppen here just to hold the front line in that position, because I wasn't sure quite where Lanciel was going. But Lanciel does actually respond to that and sends a Fallschirmjäger that way after the initial push across the river. He does need to get across this river, and if he does, that puts us in a good spot. Over on the right I'm also making quite a lot of ground, so you'll see me start to adjust the positions that I'm unloading my troops, because I'm seeing the front line push forwards here, and you can normally judge from like the distance your unit is to the front line how close enemies are. So here I'm just sort of playing it a little bit safe. Coming up to this one, I probably could have gone even further. But yeah, I'm going to come up to this tree line, unload the Command Infantry alongside the IG and the Pack, and then just roll them forwards into that tree line. On this right side, I'm going to try and get up as far as I can to these buildings, because if I can get to this building line here, it gives me a great advantage early on. We're already running a 55% territory lead. These units here are catching up because they were left behind from the initial dropout, and I've also got some Fusiliers and Osttruppen over here that are teaming up, and they will push across the stream eventually. Here comes my reinforcing infantry. It was a little bit slow to start. See some engagement over here, but nothing too crazy. That was just Big Daddy's Nebelwerfer stopping any units trying to push up the road there. I'm finally bumping into a command carrier on the right side. I do have my Pack 37 in position. I'm going to be using that to take on the command carrier. One shot's going to put tracks broken, and the second one will take the kill. So yeah, pretty simple start. And since we pushed up so much, I actually stopped recording at this point, because I assumed that it would be an easier game than it actually was. Because I have been recording a lot of my games live lately, but just haven't been recording the ones that have been sort of stomps, I guess. So yeah, in this case I stopped recording, but it actually turned out to be a really nice game. So please bear with me. It's not quite over yet. 55% territory lead does look like quite a lot, but they do start to come back at me, that's for sure. Imtel's going to be bringing in the Mark 9 Spitfire, bombing out my IG-18. It was rather rude. And over on this left side, engagement starting between the 101st player and Big Daddy. Now what was interesting, I brought over one Osttrooper and I unloaded it in the town. It turned out to be actually a really good idea, because without that, these airborne rifles would have been in a much better position to attack the Panzergrenadier. This MG42 does a good job as well, ripping to shreds those airborne engineers as they try and approach my Osttrooper. So things finally starting to heat up. What would have been nice here is if I ran one of these Osttrooper squads towards this building. That definitely would have been a nice choice early on, would have been giving me a lot more ground to work with. But here I'm just sort of remaining defensive, as I do see these vehicles coming towards me, the rifles running down towards the tree lines. Pack 37 is going to open up onto the command carrier, and we are going to take that out. Vix is going to change his mind about approaching me and run away. So I do have the 3rd Canadian Infantry on my side. Let me see Imtel in the middle, taking on the VulcanHDGaming player. Some stormtroopers there going to wreck a VulcanHDGaming squad. And that's just how effective those guys can be. We're going to be a little bit wary of letting stormtroopers get too close. But fortunately I have managed to push up quite far, so that these open ground, or this open ground here, isn't going to be an issue later on. I'm bringing up some more Osttrooper, and I really want to take control of this compound, like these two buildings on the road. Ideally I can take those and it will give me a good position going forwards. You see Lanciel's bringing up another unit of VulcanHDGamers here. Going to be engaging some rifles, and here we see an engagement between P-51 Mustang. The ME-109 is going to get on the tail of that. And this Mustang is currently being hit pretty hard by the Flak 36. So there goes one Mustang. This Mustang's going to be retreated, and this ME-109 doesn't have a chance of catching up. So managed to go 1-for-0 there from Lanciel, and he was using those ME-109s very effectively throughout the game. Over on the left side, Staghound AAs come over and take out Lanciel's AT gun, which wasn't ideal because he'd used that AT gun to take out a half-track or two. He even took out the command carrier there. But these Staghound AAs, they overran the AT gun, and now a second one coming up here is not necessarily going to be enough to stop the tide of vehicles that are coming towards. So he's got one Pack 41 Gerlich, and he doesn't have a command unit nearby it anymore. It's already being hit by the Cromwell, and it's just going to start bouncing that Cromwell. Meanwhile on this side, my Pack 37's engaging the Staghound AA through the gap there, and we are going to get that kill. Rifles are pinning down my Osttrooper in the open, and currently I'm running away from these stormtroopers with my Osttrooper, because I do not want them to be engaged at 100 meter range, otherwise I will probably lose them. So just continuing to run away from that. Lanciel brings back his VulcanHDG. Stormtroopers show themselves on this side of the tree line. IG-18 gets a shot in there. B2's trying to get a shot in there as well. Here comes my Osttrooper to push. I've got a B2 moving up on the right side, just to assist these Osttrooper in getting into their positions. Over on the left, Panzer Abwehr and another squad going down to the Spitfire Mark 9, and that's also taken out the AT gun there. So Lanciel not in the best position. Ideally he would have had like 3 AT guns there at the moment. Like those Pack 41 Gerlichs are actually really nice. You can get quite a lot of them as a VulcanHDG, and it's definitely worth having them because they are so effective. finally take out the stormtroopers on the left side there, and now I'm running these Osttroopen towards these buildings. Going to bump into some stormtroopers though, who get in the prime position. AT gun from the right kills my B2, and this attack is just foiled in like an instant. Stormtroopers just get into that building in time, and that 6-pounder was in a perfect position to side shot my B2 as I was moving it to the left. So that was pretty my bad for not moving forwards my Fusiliers to check for AT guns before I moved a tank up there. But one shot, one kill. That AT gun, I believe, did have quite a lot of veterancy. Yeah, just one star veterancy. I guess it's more than enough to one-shot my tank at about 600-meter range. So I'm trying to make these rifles surrender, but then I realised that the rifle leader's in the tree line, so I've got to take care of them instead. Moving up my Pack 40 to try and take care of the Staghound AA. I did lose my Pack 37 that was there to the Staghound AAs and the rifles. In the middle we are seeing Lanciel be pushed back quite hard, even though he did make a lot of ground early on. And on the far left, well, my Osttroopen are starting to be engaged by the airborne infantry. They are being quite helpful though, giving targets for Big Daddy's 81mm mortars. On the far right, Fusiliers are engaging rifles and the Vickers HMG. In the middle here, finally getting the shots onto the Staghound AA with the Pack 40. And in the middle, another Pack 41 Gerlich is coming up, but that's not having a great time against the Cromwell, which is going to end up pinning it down. Finally take out the Staghound, and I'm going to be pushing onto these rifles. Now, one thing to note is that Pack 40s are actually great fire support units. Just like IG-18s, they do have the HE value, but they have it at 1,200 meter range, and that can be really useful for helping the engagement of infantry at distance. So when you've run up Osttroopen and you're taking on, for example, rifles, which is a decent matchup in the first place, you can just turn the tide of that with a Pack 40, which will stun rifles really quickly with direct hits. Also got my B2 here now. That's got 2-star veterancy because it's by a command unit. We're bumping into some snipers. They're taking shots at my Fusilier and Osttroopen, so going to be starting to mortar those and hit them with the IG-18 there. 6-pounder is going to be taking on my IG-18. Going to be taking out one of my infantry squads there, and I unload the second, my Osttroopen, just to make sure they stay alive. Because I want to go for another attack onto these two buildings. Just going to get past this Vickers HMG and the stormtroopers inside. So over on the right side, here comes an attack. Wasps moving up. That's going to be starting to flame my Osttroopen, burning out those buildings. IG-18, so starting to pin down the infantry that's attacking though, and my Pack 37 kind of saves the day here by breaking the tracks and blows it up with the second shot. The Fusiliers are going to remain alive. Osttroopen managed to get out of the house before it burned down. I pretty much foiled that attack. Got the IG-18 there now. I brought in a new one, and that's going to allow me to continue to engage this infantry. There is some stormtroopers very nearby. As long as I don't let them get within 100 meter range, I should be absolutely fine, but they are going to be using a little bit of smoke there. Bringing up some MG-34s just to hold those buildings as well. Meanwhile, on the left side, I have broken through these buildings. The rifles eventually went down to the Pack 40 and the B2, allowing my Osttroopen to move up and take that ground. Stormtroopers are coming through the forest here, so got to be wary of that, running away with my Grenfjäller to make sure they don't die. And now I've brought up a Flak 88 to the centre to help out with some of these half tracks, because Lanciel's in a pretty damn bad position. He has no AT guns left. He's not exactly been the most conservative with them, and therefore they have died. On the right side, Stormtroopers try and make it into the building. They get pinned down by the Osttroopen and the covering fire from the MG-34 and the IG-18. And we're going to be taking them out as they try and run away. The Osttroopen try and move towards this building. They do get surrendered. Flak 88 taking out one half track in the mid. Going to be trying to take out more. Stormtroopers go down on the right. Once they get spotted again, see both those MGs opening up alongside the IG-18 means they aren't going to last very long whatsoever. IG-18 coming in with the last shot. Mortars going in onto those stormtroopers that made my Osttroopen surrender, and the last of my Osttroopen on the left side in the forest has just surrendered as well to an airborne rifles. So I've still got the one squad in the town there, but in the middle here in the forest, things not looking good. They've finally taken control of that. By the way, in the mid, I've got a lot of infantry here, and I'm trying to continue the push forwards. Do you see a Typhoon AT come in and take out my IG-18? I'm just going to continue rolling forwards with the B2. Got the Pack 40 on the backside, waiting for any armour to appear. We have moved into Phase B, so it's more likely that we're going to be seeing some substantial armour on the field. My teammate's pinging a defence onto this chateau area. So I do end up having to defend that for our team. Meanwhile though, just going to be engaging some rifles at a distance. I actually managed to kill off a rifle squad with the B2 initially, and this B2 just does so much work throughout this game. You can see how much damage it does to all of these rifle squads. The Fusiliers here at the front, revealing all of these units and forcing them to engage, which is great. Pack 40 from distance here also doing a great job, and I brought up a Flak 88 there to help support the front line as well. So the Flak 88 in the mid's been hit by some artillery, but did end up finishing off a lot of those half-tracks that were there. This Flak 88 manages to take out a command carrier, but what's starting to happen now is we are seeing the artillery, and it is perfect for this situation. So I've got my half-track there to pick up the Flak 88 and run away from the artillery that was coming in. If we go to the neutral perspective, there is now a 2-star sexton for Fix, and there is now a sexton in the mid for Imtail, and trust me, that is not the last you will see of sextons in this game. So this game was actually quite a nice sort of demonstration of how to push back against 716th, because often what can happen, since the 100 points per tick in Phase A, you can get very far ahead as the 716th, to the point where it reaches like critical mass, and then you just can't be pushed back because you just have so much fire support. However, in this case, my opponents bought the perfect units to make this work. And now we're going to be seeing 3 Mustangs come out on the right side. They're going to be going and shooting down these Focke-Wulf 190s. But some people would call Lanciel a madman for coming in with 2 ME-109s to take on 3 Mustangs. However, he does have the AA in his favour. Big Daddy here with the Flak Billings, the Flak 36s. It's going to be forcing all of these Mustangs to fall back, and it's a death sentence for these Mustangs as these ME-109s come in and clean up at least 2 of them. And that leaves 1 Mustang to get out alive, as the ME-109s can't get on target there in time. So incredible air engagement there from Lanciel. Took full advantage of Big Daddy's AA. Really made it work. So now some infantry running down the road here. Rifles just charging up. I think this is perfectly fine. Yes, there is a sharpshooter here hitting the Bedfords, but if you can get on top of these Panzerabwehr and the Fallschirmjäger, there is not much Lanciel can do. Even the Panzerabwehr, they're decent at 100-meter range, but they're going to get surrendered. 6-pounder taken out on the right side by my B2, was left on 1 health from the initial engagement on the right side. That B2's been doing a great job. Bomber comes in to hit the Wolverine and force that to fall back. Fallschirmjägers though engaging the rifles at distance, and those rifles don't stand a chance against Fallschirmjäger at that range. But there is plenty of arty on the go, and now it's hitting my Flak 41s once again. So the best way to deal with Flak 88s is long-range artillery, and here we can see the sextons coming in. One's hitting one of my 88s, the other one's hitting the other, and both of these are just being shut down. It's really, really quite frustrating at this point for me. I'm still moving forwards with the B2. Nothing stops the B2 rolling forwards. We're going to be continuing the engagement onto these rifles. Osttroopen and Fusiliers here. Fusiliers still have some ammunition. Osttroopen have actually run out of MG ammunition, so they're not helping the engagement. But I've now brought up a Wehrflammen, and that's going to be launching its rockets towards these rifles to make a little bit of a difference here. You can see I get some nice direct hits onto those rifles at the bottom side. and that relieves the pressure a bit there. I'm going to be moving my Verflammen away now, since they do have some long-range artillery, so I basically move that away, let the Opel Blitz munition follow it, and yeah, just keep it on the move throughout the game, because they've really wanted to shut this down. Because that Verflammen is really difficult to deal with, it's quite powerful. My infantry has arrived at this compound, and you can see by accident somehow I managed to put my command infantry into the Kubel MG that originally dropped off the Aufklärer. Don't know how that ended up happening, but just some weird micromanagement going on there. Over on this side, we do see a bomber come in onto the Osttruppen and the Fusiliers there, the Mosquito there, bringing those in, and that's going to pin down Landstuhl's Fallschirmjägers, my Osttruppen, and kills off the Fusiliers. So the Sexton there, still firing away, and you can see that my Flak 88 is down to 1 health, same with this one actually. And yes, it's allowed us to maintain control of the skies for now, but they haven't been supremely effective. They've helped clean up a lot of the units over to the left side, a lot of the half tracks and so on, and we did see a Firefly went down there to this Flak 88. I didn't actually show that to you guys, but it definitely happened. So I guess that one paid itself off before it got killed. And that's why I still do have so much pressure in this match. Now I'm rushing up some Italian infantry with the command infantry. Thunderbolt's going to be coming in and finishing off the Flak 88. I've got multiple B2s here now, brought up some reinforcing B2s, and they're going to help us pin down these rifles so damn quick as my Italian infantry continue this engagement. However, they have the artillery, and they now have two 2-star Sextons, and they're going to be starting to RT these Italian infantry. Now the reason I brought up so many B2s was exactly because they had so many Sextons. These B2s, they're so good against infantry, and so good against most things except from like high AAP tanks, that like artillery just doesn't do enough to them to make them ineffective. But either way, Typhoon AT going to be coming in there, spoiling the day, taking out one of the B2s. My Italian infantry is being hit by the Sextons now, as you can see, and that's going to force them to surrender since the Pioneer Field is also pinned down. And now my B2's in a bit of a sticky situation. It's low on morale. I'm going to have to reverse these guys, and well, let's just say they ain't exactly the fastest. Priest on the right side is going to take out my MG34. Going to be moving forwards my Pak 37 to get into line of sight of that. I also moved the Pak 37 over here to get in line of sight. So fortunately, because I have 2 units on target, I'm able to force that to fall back and then eventually get a kill shot there. Meanwhile on the left side, Wolverine's rushed up, taken out one of my B2s, takes out the other with another shot, and my push has just fallen to pieces. So the ideal way to get around this would have been to maybe not be as aggressive going into this town and maybe change my approach. Because what ended up happening, I was so confined between these trees using my B2s, when ideally you want B2s to be in the open because they have that long range howitzer, they have the 1000 meter range main gun, you know, so ideally it would have been further up. But here we're going to be seeing another Mustang go down to 2 ME-109s. Landstuhl again doing a fantastic job. My ME-109's now in the sky as well. So I was being harassed by the Typhoons and so on. So here comes an engagement with the Spitfire Mark 9, but I don't anticipate my opponent having so much AA, and it lines up perfectly for the Spitfire to take that kill. I should have been aware earlier that we saw that all the AA hit one of Landstuhl's aircraft, so that was just a big mistake on my part. So now Flak 88 being brought up again. I need something to deal with these M10s, and my Flak 88 is going to be it. Takes out one of them. We're going to be seeing my HS-129 that came in to take care of them get shot down as well by the Spitfire. But there goes the second one. to the Flak 88 just as the Mosquito comes in with the bombs. So at least the Flak 88 paid itself off. ME-109 coming onto the back of the Mosquito there. Not going to be able to get the kill as he falls out of range, and then the Spitfire comes in onto the back and shoots that down. That was a bit unfortunate from Lanciel there. Would have been nice to see that Mosquito go down. Pack 40 is going to get hit directly by a random Sexton shot. I think that was actually by accident because my Verflammen was nearby. And you can see the Sextons are trying to shoot this Verflammen, but I'm just constantly moving it around as I do land some nice flames onto this town to prevent them from pushing me too hard right now. So I'm in a pretty bad spot. I don't have any infantry really defending these buildings, just the Osttroop and holding the front line forwards. And we are being pushed pretty damn hard. 52% territory lead now. It's come back all the way back from the 55% at the start of the game. I reckon if the opponents didn't lose that much territory early on, then we would have had a much harder game. But in this case, it's still pretty damn difficult. I am being pushed back, of course. I've got some Osttroopen coming in to help out with the engagements on the left side. My Italian infantry had been engaging some of the airborne troops that were there, and you can see there was a bombing strike that came in. In the mid though, Lancel's just not having a great time. He just doesn't have the AT guns to hold back the armor that the guard's armor is pushing on him. We've also got Clone there providing the AA with these MGMCs. By the way, managed to get these Osttroopen into that building. They're going to be engaging the airborne rifles with the help of the Geb 40 there. Going to be seeing a Thunderbolt come in with the rockets onto those Osttroopen, but since they're in cover, it's not too much of an issue, and they don't actually manage to destroy the house. So the Geb's just going to be continuing to open up there to take on those units. But I'm going to be actually pushed here now. Suicide rifles heading towards me, and these Osttroopen. Not too much to stop them from doing that. My infantry is only just arriving. So the Osttroopen going to have to fight to the death here. Also another mistake, I allow these rifles to kill off my Pack 40 as the Osttroopen engage. I thought that the Osttroopen would engage the rifles before the rifles could see my Pack 40, but what ends up happening is both the mortar and the Pack 40 go down there to a rifle squad. Massive mistake on my part. And now I wanted to get the Italian infantry into the bottom side of these buildings here, but what ended up happening was the Sexton hit my Italian infantry on the road where the Flak 88 was and pinned down my infantry, not allowing it to continue. So they now have 4 Sextons, and they are just deleting my Flak 88s whenever they arrive. Still have this Verflammen though, and I'm going to be aiming that at the last remaining man of the Osttroop, and he's called in a rocket support, and here it comes. Just as he dies, the rocket support comes in. Unfortunately, misses its target. Does manage to take out one unit there, the Dingo, and it does force the rifles to fall back through the flames, but didn't hit or score a direct hit that would have probably deleted at least one of those rifle squads. Just seeing the ME-109 come in there, it's going to get hit very hard by the AA. Does manage to pick off the infantry squad that was there. Yeah, the Osttroop and engaging the rifles. Rifles actually going to win out in that engagement. One of the engagements that rifles can actually win. And now we're seeing a mass amount of aircraft once again. 2 Spitfires coming in. 3rd Spitfire there as well. Vic's going to be shooting down one of the Storches. The Storch providing us with quite a lot of information. Big Daddy's going to be bringing up his own Focke-Wulf 190s to take on the Spitfires, but doesn't really anticipate the amount of AA that's there, and as you can see, they both get forced to fall back. Now Vix doesn't want to chase them, so he's going to evac his own planes. Of course, there is lots of AA on Big Daddy's side of things as well. So Big Daddy actually gets away quite lucky there. You're going to be seeing a Typhoon AT coming onto one of Lanceal's Flak 88s, but the ME-109 is on the case and is going to shoot down the Typhoon AT. On the right side, actually I think it was on the left side here, we take out an airborne rifles by the compound. some small engagements happening there throughout the map. And now I'm also bringing up this off map to assist in the middle. So in the middle of the map there is only one bridge that they can get vehicles across, and since they're the guards armoured they have a lot of vehicles to use. So I'm actually going to end up barraging this sort of section of road. It's not only going to hit this infantry that's moving through the middle, but also hopefully stun the Crusader AA and the Cromwell 5. This is a 380mm off-map barrage railroad artillery. So there you can see one motorised rifle just gets instantly destroyed, and then the rest of the artillery comes down slowly but surely, continuously onto that bridge. We've also got a Flak 88 here that I'm moving up to help defend against any tanks that actually break through. But there you can see the motorised rifles are being pinned down. The Flak 88 gets the shot off onto the Cromwell there. And yeah, that artillery just continues as those units are forced to fall back. On the right side, Pack 37 going to be hit by the Sexton there. Pioneer Fiera in a pretty bad spot. Could have maybe tried to run away with that, but it most likely would have been ran down by the attacking forces. Going to be seeing Bedfords come up the road. Do have the Pack 37 in position, which is great. There's plenty of chance to stop them from running on. Grenadier get taken out by the stormtroopers as they push through these tree lines, and this is what I was talking about at the start of the game when it came down to these stormtroopers work really well if they can get into these tree patches. ME-109's coming in onto the back of the Thunderbolt here. We're going to be seeing these ME-109s engage those Thunderbolts as well. We're going to see two Thunderbolts go down. We've also got Typhoon ATs coming in the mid. One takes out the Flak 88, but look how many fighters come in. We've got two Mustangs from Clone, three Spitfires from Fix. Of course, one of the ME-109s is going to go down, and these ME-109s aren't going to get out either, as they are absolutely wrecked by the Mustangs and then the Spitfires. So 3 ME-109s went down there for two Thunderbolts. I did not expect my opponents to have that much of an air force. Lovely shot there from the Pack 37. Unvetted Pack 37 takes out the Priest just before the Mosquito comes in with the bombing strike. That saved me a lot of hassle, that's for sure. Now we just got to finish off the remainder of this infantry. Got the 50 cal and the airborne leader there, currently ripping to parts and Bolshevik again. Black 88's not in the best position here, so I'm rolling over my 380mm off map just to hit this position. I've also got another one coming up to help defend in the middle. And the main idea of the off map wasn't necessarily to kill stuff in the middle. It was quite literally to stop them getting across the bridges, just slow down their advance. Because if I can keep them panicked and forced to fall back, then they won't be able to get across, and we can maintain this 51% territory lead. There's 18 minutes left on the clock. This was actually a 50-minute game in terms of like total length of time, and the score limit was 2,000 points. So we've been ticking up for the whole game. We definitely have a lead, but there's still plenty of time for the opponents to come back if they can make a breach through our second line of defense. And I mean, it's quite hard for them to actually get across the river in the middle. See here, two HS-129s come in and take out one of the Shermans. But yeah, it's quite hard for them to push across. But if they can make that happen, then they could definitely start putting a +1 on the board themselves, and maybe think about coming back in this game. Now this IG-18 does actually hit this Staghound AA pretty damn hard. Forces it to fall back. Italian infantry being hit by the Priest there. Motorized rifle leader destroyed on the left side. And now we're seeing the engagement towards this 50 cal and the airborne leader. Now somehow neither of these squads got touched by all of the off map that I brought in. I thought at least one round would hit the edge. So now I'm forced to just move up with the Italian infantry, do it the old fashioned way with the support of Big Daddy Long Squeeze's FK-18s. On this right side, Typhoon's going to be coming in, bombing my units. I'm losing IG-18s, I'm losing Pak 37s all over the place, and they're just pushing me with rifles. So I do have my Italian infantry in place here, and I still have the Wehrflammen alive, been using that where I can. Finally we destroy the 50 cal on the left side, finally going to take care of the airborne leader, and with some Sturm Pioneer leading the way, Big Daddy's finally moving out of this sort of town to move and push forwards. Because he hasn't been pushing for the whole game, he's just sort of been chilling in the town, which is fine. As long as the airborne player doesn't take it, I don't mind. But yeah, he's moving up these stormtroopers, going to be starting to RT, or the Sturm Pioneer, is going to be starting to RT the MGMCs there. So I'm going to be continuing to push through with my Italian infantry now as well. But on the right side, well, it's looking pretty hectic. I'm under a lot of pressure here. Don't really have the right things to take out Staghound AAs, Crusader AAs and Priests at the moment. But what you'll notice is there's literally no, or nothing with AP value. So I decided to actually bring up a Panzer 35. And although this is like a Phase A tank, I'm going to be using it in Phase C to take on the Crusader AAs, the Staghound AA and the Priest, because they don't have any AP value, so the unit's actually in a really good place there. Staghound AA actually gets taken out by the IG-18, which was an absolute hero play. Staghound AA has 3 front armor, and somehow I managed to take care of that. Rifle squads are being taken out here by the Wehrflammen, trying to push through this tree line. I do take out one with the first rocket strike. Second one's going to be burning to death. On the right side, Pak 37 gets taken out by the multiple Crusader AAs and Tripolstons. And you can see the engagement is just horrific on that right side. So I really need to get this AT gun up, the Panzer 35 up, and I can start to take care of some of these fire support units that are really ripping to shreds my infantry. But we are in the last 100 points needed now to gain victory, so just got to maintain this 51% territory lead, which basically means I can't really fall back much more on the right side. Plane train coming in the middle to take out Landstuhl's HS-129s and Focke-Wulfs, but just going to avoid that now. Typhoon AT takes out the 88 that was defending the mid. My 88 is just further back, just chilling, as I don't want that to be taken out by a combination of ground forces and air forces. So yeah, just some Pioneers and Panzer Grenadiers being used in combination to push through here, through these forest areas, and Big Daddy's definitely making up for the ground that I'm losing on the right side as he continues to push forwards. We get pushed back to 50-50 briefly. Panzer 35 did take care of the Priest there for us. Seeing the Spitfire pin down the IG-18. But this Panzer 35 is on a mission to kill these Crusader AAs. +1 has now stopped, so a little bit of respite for the opposing team. But they've now only got 13 minutes to make up 1,922 points. They're pushing very hard into Phase B and Phase C, which is not something you see very often when it comes to the Allies. There's some more off-map of mine coming in and smashing some stormtroopers and some other infantry that was pushing across the open here. You can see that did quite a nice amount of damage, stopping them moving forwards. But 51% territory lead coming back to us as Big Daddy continues to push. I'm now stabilizing my right side with the Panzer 35. I'm bringing up a Flak 88. Pak 43 does go down, but my Panzer 35 has taken out at least one of the Crusader AAs now, and it's very easy for me to use the Panzer 35 to take out the CMP Tripolston as well. On the right side, just the MG34 and Grenadier left. Flak 88 getting into position here to shoot down the Mosquito, or just try and force it to fall back at least. There we go, another Mosquito coming in. Is going to bomb out my Panzer 35 and stop that from heading towards the Crusader AA. Italian infantry here, thanks to them being 2-star veterancy, don't get pinned down immediately by the Crusader AA. So the Panzerfaust is enough to take that out. I'm going to be continuing the engagement with these rifles On this side of the river, I also bring up the Flak 88, but with that +1 ticking again, it does lead us to victory after 37 minutes and 47 seconds. So, what originally started out to be what I thought would be an easy game turned out to be quite a hard one. And yeah, you can just see by the amount of time it took us to win how much of a slog it was, and I was being pushed back very hard. It mainly comes down to the fact they were using the sextons throughout the game to really take out a lot of my fire support, and that's just how you got to do it, guys. Bring in those sextons, bring in those 25-pounder artilleries and smash those 88s into oblivion. The trouble is, in this game, is that I still made the 88s count, but if we jump over to the team scores, I actually went negative, 2,748 kills to 2,935 losses. Landseal the same in the middle, and Big Daddy, the only one positive, 1,118 kills. He didn't get that many kills because he played it quite passively with a lot of artillery. If we look on the other side, Fix did a great job, 2,695 kills to 2,030 losses. The way he moved his troops backwards and forwards was actually quite nice for the opposing team, and opened up a lot of opportunity for the Guards Armour to push early in the game. But yeah, some more negative scores there. But if we jump over to the kills, what I was talking about was the Flak 88s still paying themselves off. And if I just show you guys, I mean, let's just have a look at all the kills in general. These Pack 37s doing a good job of taking out all of these units. Considering these Pack 37s only cost like 50 points, taking out a Lynx and Staghound AA pays itself off. Same with all of these ones, and that's really what you've got to look for here. Pack 40 didn't really pay itself off, but definitely took out some units that mattered. Panzer B2 took out multiple infantry, stormtroopers, rifles, 6-pounder. That's what they're perfect for, just infantry support tanks. IG-18 took out a couple decent units there, and this Flak 88 took out a Cromwell, a Firefly, and an M5 half-track before it died. So that's paying itself off at least twice over. This Flak 88 didn't actually pay itself off, but got a few kills there. If we continue down, this Flak 88 killed off 2 Wolverines before it got killed. My railroad battery only killed off infantry really, but definitely did a decent job of preventing the opposing tanks from getting across that bridge. This Flak 88 again, Cromwell, Firefly. I just brought them in at the right moment and got the kills that mattered before those 88s got killed, and that's all that mattered towards the end. Fel Panzer came in and took out the Priest Double D and the Crusader AA Mark II. Staghound AA taken out by the IG-18. That was absolute hero. I have no idea how that happened, but either way, can see those IG-18s be badasses sometimes, and that's why I absolutely love them. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this game. It was great to have a serious sort of opponent to take on the 716th. I normally do very, very well with them, and to have somebody actually push me back quite significantly was really nice to see. You know, have somebody actually know how to counter what I was bringing, and yeah, it was really great. Would have been nicer if obviously they didn't let me get so much ground earlier on, because then it would have been a much more contested game in terms of score. But either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.